In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a sample SQL view. We'll add the columns that will ultimately be seen in the result area, and we'll create a sort order for the result set. Then I will show you how to test the view from SQL Server Management Studio and also from within X3. We'll create a very simple view, and it'll have a couple of columns only and one underlying table, but it should give you a working example of how this works. So first, let's create the view. We will go into the development, data parameters, and views. All right, and from here we're going to click on the new button to create a new one. And we're going to call this view, let's call it ZV test 1, 2, 3. All right, and we will use the same abbreviation and description. In this case, we're not going to use an activity code, and the module will be defaulted here in a moment after I tab off. And we're going to skip the Oracle box, of course. We're going to go into SQL Server, and we're going to copy and paste this query, the select query here. We're going to be looking at the item facility table from the seed schema, and you'll notice I have just 3 columns: the description, site, and reorder minimum quantity. You could make this SQL query more difficult, but again, I just wanted to give you something as a starting point to show you how that works. Now we're going to go into the fields section here and identify the fields. So the first one, we're going to select the item description, and we're going to give it the field type of alphanumeric. You can either type in an A, or you can use the lookup if you don't know. And we're going to set a limit for the length, and we're going to set it to 20. And here I'm just going to tab to the next line, fill in the next column, which is going to be item site. And the same thing here, it'll be an alphanumeric, and the length in this case is going to be 5. The last item, the last field we're going to add here is the reorder min quantity. And for this type, we're going to select quantity. There's a type for quantity already. And so that'll identify the fields. Now we're going to move down to the sort key section to create a sort order. And I'm going to just make up a key code here for our example. I'm going to say ZS and then test 1, 2, 3. And then the keys that we're going to use in this example, we're going to use a combination of a couple of columns, the description plus the item site, just like that. And in our example, we will not allow duplicates. Of course, you certainly could, but just again, this is an example. We're going to select no for duplicates. And in the configuration field, in the configuration file area, it's more advanced. We're going to skip that for now. So again, at the very top here, we've created a code. This will be the name of the SQL view that we're going to look at here shortly, but that's going to be the name of the SQL view, the abbreviation description, and here's the actual view of what it's doing. We've identified the select query and the fields that are going to be present in the result set, and the order in which that result set will appear. So after we've created it, let's go to the right-hand side and let's save the view. So the record has been created, and we're going to validate. Give that a moment. Now I'm going to show you a couple ways to test the view. You're going to want to test the view to make sure that when it is run, it doesn't error and there's no syntax errors or any syntax problems. Again, this is a very basic and very simple view based only on one table. Most likely nothing could go wrong, but you always want to validate that. Now, so the name of the view again that we created is zvtest123. So let's go to SQL Server Management Studio first, and let's just do a simple select statement. And again, remember it is in the seed schema. And zvtest23, I believe we called it. And we run that. And as you can see, it does return data, and it's got our 3 columns. So this would be one way that you could use to test the SQL view directly from SQL Server Management Studio. The other way I'm going to show you is how to do this from X3. And in order to do that, we're going to go back to X3, of course. And we're going to go into Setup. And then we're going to go into Usage. And then Reports. And we're going to go into the Graphical Query tool. Now, we're going to create a new graphical entry here, our graphical tool entry code, and we're going to call this one, let's see, so it's test123, so we'll give it a similar code, ZG, and let's call it 123, and we're going to just copy paste the same for the description and for the short description. And for the moment, we're going to make the entry active. We're going to go down in the fields area, and you'll notice that there's a little bar here that has some icons to enable you to perform some functions. Let's click on the Add a Table icon and bring up the selection screen. And let's go over to the code filter at the top. And let's look for our view that we created, zvtest123, right, and we're going to select it. And you'll notice now that there's another box here in the fields area, zvtest123. And what we want to do is select a couple of the rows here to be included in the result set so that it appears down in the bottom section here. So if we click on, it doesn't seem like it highlights it, but if you double click on the item description, you'll notice that a box appears down here, and then if you click on the double click on the item site, there's another box that's down here. Okay. And then if we scroll a little further down, there are other activities that you can do to make this more advanced. If you know that the result set is going to have a lot of lines, you can restrict the number of lines to be shown by adding certain values here. Again, I wanted to create a view that you could work off of just as a starting point. So we're not going to look at any of the items down here in the Access and Graph section either. We're going to come over to the right and we're going to save this or create it. Okay, so it has been created. Now let's validate it. And we'll give it a moment here. Okay, so we validate it. Now let's click on the Run button at the top here. This will take us to the kind of the report screen here. And from here, we can click on Search. And again, you'll see here now that we have the columns that we've included and it shows up on our screen here. We can go down to the following page. Looks like there's 100 rows. And that's how you can validate the view from within X3. So there you have it. I have demonstrated how to create a simple view. Again, it was a view only utilizing one table and a few columns. We defined the columns that would be seen in the results. We created a sorting order by creating a sort order key. We then tested the view from SQL Server Management Studio to confirm its integrity, and you saw that it returned the results in SQL. And we also showed how to test the view from X3 using this graphical query tool and running the view from that area. Remember, if you're testing it, to delete the graphical tool entry here if you don't need it. But that's all there is to it. Thank you very much for watching.